ever has. It's more than Jordan and Pippen did with Dennis Rodman and some of the other. I mean, you're looking at legends on your screen there, and that is where we put this group. And so, again, with Big Perk and Monica and Wendy, who's with us for a little while longer this morning. And we have Charles Barkley and Stephen A. Smith both coming up in this hour as well. But Wendy, you're a chronicler. It is your job to chronicle and put into perspective the meaning of what we have just seen. So how do we describe this morning what these last 2 weeks mean for Steph Curry?
I got to tell you, I was really surprised by how much they savored this. Having been around teams that have tacked on titles before, this was not just another one. You know, he can point to the fourth finger, but I feel like this ring is going to be the special one. And I think it's because, regardless of what they said, they recognized that there was a hole there. Like, when I saw the way that the Warriors players and his teammates embraced him when he got that MVP, and how they chanted MVP, and how they celebrated it, and how they all wanted photos of him with the trophy. Like, on one hand, they absolutely never thought he needed that Finals MVP. He didn't need to justify anything. But on the other hand, they also knew that there was a hole there that needed to be filled. And even Steph, I think, would admit, while he would never apologize for anything, he would admit he didn't play his best basketball ever in the finals until now. And now is the time when they needed it most. And that Game 4 decided this series. It's an iconic performance. It'll be one of the defining moments of his career. And to top it all off with the Bill Russell Trophy in Boston, which satisfied his petty urges, which we all saw. I think it was a crowning moment in his career that it is only probably going to even be more enriching going forward.
You know, Big Perk, it's interesting. I was just thinking as Wendy was talking about that, and you've won a championship in the NBA. I was around those Bulls teams, and the observation I've always made is the first one they won was a celebration of pure joy.
Right.
From that point forward, there was a large element of relief involved. They were expected to win, and that was their goal, and anything short of it would have been a disappointment. So there was some relief. Last night, the emotions of the Warriors felt a lot closer to the joy than they felt to the relief, and I think it speaks to all that they have been through in the last few years.
Yeah, absolutely, Grady. And look, it's not just the joy and the emotions of the Warriors, but I'm tuning in, I'm dialing in to Steph Curry. You know why he was so emotional? Just think about it. This out of all the championships, this was the first finals where he actually was the best player on the floor. You go back to the first one, it was LeBron James, although they lost that finals. He did. Mm-hmm. When you go to his next two, it was Kevin Durant. This championship right here was solely based on the greatness of Steph Curry. And I know he tried to dismiss the finals MVP, but again, he brings up receipts, so he knows that he's watching. He knows what this finals MVP trophy meant to him and meant to go on his resume. Like, we could say he should have earned it, but for him to actually have it means everything to him. He may not say that because he's a team guy, but we know damn well
of course. Any suggestion that isn't an incredibly significant piece of this story is being made by a person who doesn't understand the story. Yeah. Him winning that award is incredibly significant historically. Monica, let's actually go on the floor, though. Okay. Let's talk about what he did, because, and Jalen made this point repeatedly to me last night, it wasn't just offensively. Mm-hmm. He played great defense last night, and in this series, Steph Curry was brilliant in this 6-game series.
I love our stats and information department, and I'm following along with them through the course of the game last night. And at one point, Boston was shooting 1 of 6 with 3 turnovers with Steph as the primary defender. A little later in the fourth quarter, I think that number shifted to 2 of 9. And so he stood up to the call out, right? Like, to looking to go at Steph Curry. And then, as much as we hail his three-point shooting, greatest three-point shooter of all time, he got to the paint. He put so much pressure on this Boston Celtics defense. When he had a matchup that he liked, poor Al Horford got caught in the matrix a few times, and then he was able to finish at the rim. And then let's not forget the way that he was able to pass the ball. We talk about him as a point guard. He had, I believe, 6 assists last night as well. So just a complete all-around game, and you could tell that he really relished in the growth of his teammates.
No, I'm with you on that. And look at this. I mean, look at his accolades. His resume now is longer than the Chick-fil-A line, all right? But here's the thing that we have to realize. Even when Steph Curry don't have the ball in his hands, he's still a factor.
Can I just give you a stat for that? 62% from the field were the Warriors in Game 5 when he was on the floor. It dropped to below 20% when he was off the floor. Please continue.
It speaks to his greatness. But I will say this: pound for pound, he's the greatest, he's the most conditioned athlete in the NBA right now.
Mm-hmm.
No disrespect to LeBron James, but to be 6'2", 6'3", 200 pounds, and being able to run around the floor and not get tired and then get picked on. They tried to call him up and get switches for him and Jason Tatum. It was times that Al Horford, a 6'10", 265-pound body, was trying to pound Steph Curry down on the low block, and he could not move him.
Yeah.
He could not move him. And then we talked about him finishing in the fourth quarter. He finished in great fashion last night.
Yeah, we had one-on-ones with Steph before Game 4, and he said to us, I believe the date was June 9th, 20 last year. He talked about a picture that he was looking at with his trainer and how he started working for the opportunity to compete for a finals a year ago. Everything this Warriors organization does is with winning championships in mind. Even Steve talked about in a year where he knew they weren't going to win, he would monitor Steph's minutes. He wasn't going to put him on the floor. And so to your point about conditioning, there's not a wasted workout in Steph Curry's life.
Two things that I think are worth mentioning here. Cindy, one of them, our director, Cindy Morello, just stay on this shot. I love Perk's chair being this low. I don't know if I'm the only person who finds it hilarious. We could change it. We could adjust it. The man is a foot taller than I am. There's just something about this that I find funny. Secondly, Wendy, let me come back to you for a slightly more serious question. The word dynasty is now going to be used in connection with these Warriors. I have, as the host of NBA Countdown, had some pushback on whether or not, from some of our panelists, whether or not that is appropriate. I will give you the word here. Is this Golden State Warriors team now, with this championship last night, are they officially a dynasty?
Yes. I mean, if you wanted to stake a position and defend it, go ahead, and you want to declare victory in some debate, go ahead. But I don't know how you can look at them and look at this run and look at the same four guys who started it a decade ago: Andre Iguodala, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, and Steph Curry, holding up four fingers because those guys won it together. And, the same coach, the same general manager, on the flight out here to Boston, Bob Myers came and sat with Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson. And he goes, guys, it's so unusual for people to be able to stay together this long in the NBA, much less go through what they did. And so part of the reason it's a dynasty is because they've had the struggles and because they overcame them. So, someone else can fight that out. To me, it's an open and shut case. And I got more news for you. This may not be the last time we're talking about the Warriors winning a championship the day after the end of the finals.
They are not done yet at all.